Today's reading is Luke chapter 1, verse 57 to 66 and verse 80. And we're celebrating the birth of John the Baptist. Isn't it funny how one's concept of age and youth changes as you get older? For children, being 20 is unimaginably distant. Middle age is something I have never experienced, although I have somehow, I can't quite account for how, reached an age when many of my contemporaries have retired. It's hard to take in how old my children are. I'll have to work it out these days. When my mother died in her 60s, I had no idea how young that would feel when I got there myself. It's often said that the elderly are more valued in some societies than others, and that in ours they are undervalued. I suppose that's partly because our society values more highly those who are economically productive. I'm not sure that's something we should be really proud of. In biblical times, one of the ways of having status in society was having children, especially for women. Poor Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, had reached the menopause and beyond without a single child. And she and Zechariah would have been object of pity at best. This must have been particularly hard for them when children were thought of as a blessing from God. Well, we still think they are that as long as they are behaving. The other side of the coin, though, was that childlessness was seen as a punishment. How tough that would have been for such a devout couple, and how often they must have said to each other, "Why?" Well, the good news for those of us who perhaps ought to learn to call ourselves old is that the Bible values old age. Zechariah and Elizabeth became the parents of John the Baptist in extreme old age, and their son was the last of the Old Testament prophets and the harbinger of the New Testament, the forerunner of the Messiah, and that was second only to Mary's privilege in being the mother of the Messiah. Then think too of that other elderly couple in the Old Testament, Abram and Sarai, who waited and waited and waited for the son promised by God, so that Abraham could become the father of a great nation, and not only that, but the father of many nations. The New Testament cheerfully denotes him as good as dead by the time Isaac was born. I bet there was a skip in his step when that happened. In these two cases, out of old age, God brought not only new life, but a new start, a new chapter in the story of salvation. Not bad for the economically unproductive.